You are listening to Explained, where I give you the lowdown on root causes and factors that have disrupted your health and what you can do about it. Fluoride Explained, how it affects the body and how to protect yourself. This question is from Sean Davis in California. He asks, I've heard that fluoride is bad for you. Is this actually true? If so, how can I protect my family from it? So some of you savvy listeners may already know that fluoride is not good for you and think you're doing enough to protect yourself by not having a fluoridated toothpaste. And that's a great start, but we actually need to go further than that. So let's break this down. I want to help you understand how fluoride disrupts the body, why it matters so much to have a fluoride strategy, and what can actually be done about it. So you may have heard about the studies that revealed fluoride's impact on our prenatal exposure. So babies in the womb actually have decreases in IQ at a similar level to lead when exposed to fluoride. And fluoride also lowers your IQ at any age for the long term. So we'll link to a couple of studies in the show notes, including a JAMA study. That's a Journal of American Medical Association. That's particularly damning. This sounds bad, but it's actually a lot worse than this. So just bear with me because I really want you to understand this. Fluoride also calcifies the pineal gland. Now, why does that matter? Your pineal gland is basically this itty bitty little guy, the size of a grain of rice, right in the center of your brain that's responsible for a lot of jobs. And fluoride decreases the pineal gland's ability to do things like produce melatonin. And melatonin is not just like your hippie NyQuil that you can pick up over the counter to help you fall asleep. It's a substance that your body makes on its own in your pineal gland. It helps to regulate your circadian rhythms, meaning your sleep and wake cycles, your appetite, and so much more. It's basically your brain's detergent. It's supposed to flush through your brain at night while you sleep to mobilize the toxins that have accumulated in the brain throughout the day and get them out into the rest of the body to get ready for excretion. It's also an amazing antioxidant. So think repair agent and fountain of youth and a potent anti-cancer agent. So yeah, we'd like some more of that, please, right? And the pineal gland is what makes your melatonin, but it also controls hormone signals to all organs. And as it calcifies from fluoride, these processes slow down. So it compromises our sleep, further impacting your body's ability to regulate your weight and detox, which it wants to do while you're asleep. And fluoride reduces the pineal gland's ability to translate nervous system signals into endocrine signals, further disrupting weight regulation and all sorts of hormone processes. And so many studies show this. This is not like edgy or up for debate. This is well established. And pineal gland distress from fluoride is also linked to long-term IQ decrease, gut dysbiosis, neurological disease, and including but not limited to anxiety, depression, autism, dementia, and Parkinson's. It's so much bigger than that. Fluoride stores in your thyroid gland as well, further distressing it and impacting your metabolism. Fluoride actually used to be prescribed to slow down an overactive thyroid because it's just so good at doing that. And it competes with iodine uptake in the thyroid. So we can't be talking about iodine and how we need more of it and yada, yada, without also looking at our fluoride exposure. Fluoride also contributes and even creates cystic acne, thyroid conditions, dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, which can often be mistaken for arthritis and other conditions, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we need to really look at our sources for exposure for fluoride and how to take back control over our own health. So yes, fluoride is in toothpaste, and it just blows my mind how they're still marketing that as like a good thing. But it's also in antibiotics, in anesthesia, in Prozac, and in many common drugs. They contain fluoride because fluoride actually helps deliver the drug to the cells. So it's also in chicken products, in black tea, even more than green tea. This is where you really got to think through how something was made and where it was made. Because anywhere that is a fluoridated area, that's going to contribute to the food that you're ingesting. So it's in extruded cereals, it's in beer, it's in bottled beverages like alkaline water. It's also in pesticides, especially high in monocropped areas. So for those of you not familiar, monocropping is exactly how it sounds. One food crop in large areas with no complementary crops to naturally regulate and reduce pests, and no rotation to heal and replenish the soil, etc. So you end up using more crap on the crops in your quest for efficiency. And of course, fluoride is in our tap water. So 70% of the US still adds fluoride. Even though it's not actually required in most states, the CDC just recommends it. But in most cases, it's decided at the local level. So you actually have more control over this than you realize. And we'll talk about that before the end of this episode. But there are a few states that require it statewide. Definitely worth looking up. And the US legal limit is 4 parts per million, which is actually 4 times the level that's considered legal in Europe. They only allow 1 part per million. And many bottled juices and wines made in the US actually test way higher than 4 parts per million, like 6 parts per million and above. Even though this is clearly the case and it's been proven multiple times, no action has been taken against these companies that we're aware of anyway. So fluoride is such a potent neurotoxin and it's so nasty. Why are we still adding this to our water, right? How does this even make sense? It comes down to industrial economics and politics and essentially consumer education. And that's where you guys come in. So fluoride is an unwanted byproduct of aluminum processing, of fertilizer production, and of iron ore manufacturing. And yes, some areas do have it naturally occurring in the water. And as some of this data was coming to light several decades ago, it would have placed tremendous financial burden on those local areas tasked with removing it from their own water sources. So of course, they had resistance to tighter fluoride regulation. And all this production byproduct from these industrial processes, it has to go somewhere, right? Much better if you can make a buck off of your production waste rather than pay to hide it somewhere. And this is really interesting. Nixon had this major initiative to cure dental decay in a decade, back in the 70s, right? But the sugar lobby successfully refocused those efforts on adding fluoride to the water to supposedly strengthen teeth instead of scrutinizing our diets and the sugar lobby's practices. If you think back to that time, they were still legally allowed to make ads saying that, eating cookies essentially creates healthy energy. It was nuts back then. And of course, they didn't want that to end. And while fluoride does densify the surface of teeth when it's topically applied, this doesn't actually make the teeth healthier in the long run. It actually makes them more prone to chipping and breakage later on. So we actually work with several dentists who refer their patients to us, and they talk about how teeth become less resilient and more marble-like that can be chipped away when exposed to fluoride over the long term. By the way, we will put a link in the show notes so you can check if your area is fluoridated too. What's really important to understand is that fluoride has a long life in our body, like decades and decades. So you need an ongoing avoidance strategy. You don't want any more fluoride coming into your life. And you also need a removal strategy. So let's talk action steps. Obviously, we want fluoride-free dental care, right? Fluoride-free toothpaste, fluoride-free mouthwash. Don't go to a dentist that's still recommending fluoride, and definitely don't agree to their fluoride upsells, okay? I personally use Dental Sidon. We sell it on the site. I absolutely love it. You're welcome to subscribe and save. And so also we need to look at our water. So distilled water is our favorite for drinking and for cooking. And this is because reverse osmosis and other additional water filtration systems, some of them that claim to get fluoride out, they are reducing the amount of fluoride in the water, but they're not getting rid of it all the way. And honestly, a lot of their claims are largely inflated, and they're not pointing out to you how limited the shelf life is for those fluoride filters and how they crap out really soon after installation. So that includes the Berkey's fluoride filters. It's like 100 gallons or something, which does not last very long for like a family of 4. So we prefer distillation, and I'll put a link in the show notes to the distiller that we like that we found to be the cheapest and also doesn't break, which is awesome. Okay, so what can you take? Taking iodine will help to displace stored fluoride in the body. And our favorite is a fulvic iodine, which we'll link in the show notes too for you. Let's see, what else? We already talked about the reverse osmosis. Oh, one thing that's nice, actually, which is just a food-based thing, is tamarind paste. This is a deeply healing food that helps the body recover from fluoride. So think just like a small amount, find a couple of tamarind-friendly recipes. You can just throw a couple tablespoons in, or you can just sit there and eat it. Some people just do that. Michael loves that, for example. He likes the taste of it. And turmeric. Turmeric will not help you to push fluoride out of the body and excrete it, but it will protect your neurons from excitotoxicity, which is essentially, it's like the pathological process of neurons getting damaged and killed by the exposure to fluoride. They literally get excited to death in exposure to fluoride. So think about turmeric and getting some recipes in your rotation that include it. Just use a high quality like turmeric supplement too. Another thing you can use is liposomal melatonin, which can cross the blood-brain barrier, unlike other melatonins, to help start to flush out those toxins from your brain the way that melatonin is designed to do, the way your body counts on it to protect your brain health over time. We'll put a link to our favorite one in the show notes for you as well. So let's talk about where you can take action, right? Because this really does come down, we believe, to consumer education. And if there are enough of us pushing for this and quoting the multiple studies that show how damaging fluoride is to every age of population in our country, we can actually make some real progress. And that's honestly the only way that it's happened so far, is that people get really passionate about this topic at the local level. They start educating and they start turning it around in small areas at a time. So we highly recommend you go to Fluoride Action Network, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you. Join Moms Against Fluoridation and spread the word. Share this episode with your loved ones. Share it with your dentist. Start asking them questions and start looking for a dentist, a biological dentist who already understands this, because they're going to be your buddies. Till next time, remember, it's never too late to heal. You and your body are brilliant, and we're in this together. Thanks for listening. Go to detoxrejuvenation.com to find the links in the show notes to everything we covered in this episode. Please subscribe, review, and share with other humans who need this precious information. Let's help each other. Until next time, love, Sinclair.